Hello, everyone. My name is Julie McVey, and this is Unordinary Made Ordinary, where we talk about extraordinary experiences of everyday people. And today we have a special guest, Camille Dan. Thank you so much, Camille, for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I am very excited to hear your amazing story. And if you wouldn't mind, can you just share a little bit about yourself, a little background?
Sure.
Okay.
So I have a pretty diverse background. I went to university and studied nursing, practiced nursing for a while, and then I had 4 children. I stopped practicing nursing, and when they were old enough, I got a job as a movie medical technical advisor. I did that for a little while. And then went through a divorce, started my own business, and I run a private investment company now. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, that's a
I
lot.
consider myself primarily a mom of 4 kids. They're all adults, and I have one in heaven on the other side. And he transitioned in September of 2019, and I started reading quite a bit after to find comfort in my loss, and found a grief journaling course online that Megan Devine runs, and entered that. And then I started journaling. And as a result of my journaling, I came to the decision to publish my journal into a book. It really was Aaron who pushed me into it. Aaron is my son who transitioned. He's my oldest son. And I started to hear his voice after he transitioned. Not long after, he just started spontaneously speaking to me. And of course, I thought it was all in my head and I was making it all up.
Okay.
But little by little, and then a lot by a lot, it became evident that these thoughts couldn't have been coming from my own mind. It was stuff I would have never come up with on my own. So I had to give up my skepticism about, after death communication. And, I was originally a skeptic about it all.
So you were familiar that some people did have afterlife communication?
Oh, absolutely. My very good friend, who I mentioned in the book, Arlene, she talked to me quite a bit about her, I guess, clairvoyant experiences. And, I listened, and some things actually happened when I was with her. Like, we'd be walking down the street talking about a departed family member of hers, and one by one, the streetlights would start to go out. And okay, I'd acknowledge that was happening. But I came from a more science-based background, so my brain would always fall back on, okay, it's a coincidence, or there's something explainable or not yet discovered behind all this. But I never really thought that much about it. But and Arlene came to me with the first message from Aaron that she got through automatic writing. And there was information in the note that she couldn't have known. So, I was just basically being slow dripped through this at first. And then when Aaron started to speak to me, it just like grew and grew and grew. And then he started telling me to write a book. So I did.
Wow. How
Yeah,
soon after his passing did he talk to your friend? Your friend was the one he talked to
immediately,
first.
immediately. Yes. So, it, after, not long after his funeral and Shiva, where we practiced Judaism, um, she came with this note. And I was obviously still in a state of shock. And she was a little nervous to bring it to me, thinking, I don't know if I should. She's in a state of shock.
Mhm.
But she decided to do it. And it was unbelievable. Like it just it immediately made me feel a connection with him.
Mhm.
And he died by in an accident. There were questionable circumstances. It's still
Mm.
under investigation, and we don't know all the answers. Anyway, the next day after Arlene gave me the note, we met with a detective.
Mm.
He said something that was word for word in the note. I forgot everything else he said as soon as I heard it.
Wow. Man, I can't even imagine. Uh,
Yeah, it was unbelievable, and things just kept going from that point. Evidence, of his presence and of him being still with me.
so for Arlene, that was an automatic writing situation. So
Yes.
now for you, you heard something in your head was the first communication with
Yeah,
Aaron?
so I'd say about 3 weeks after, we decided to go to the cottage and get out of the noisy city, and
Uh-huh.
um, you know, maybe it would feel more comforting to be in a quiet place in nature. So we're driving along. It's October, and um, I'm I'm the passenger. I'm marveling at all the beautiful fall colors that we have up. I live in Toronto. So as we're driving north of the city, it's just stunning.
Mm.
And as soon as I realize that Aaron will never see this beautiful sight again, I start to cry.
Mm.
And right away, I hear in his voice, I can see it, Mom. I see it. And I looked around the car, like it sounded like he was in the car with us. And I thought, oh, that's, uh, you know, I must be making this up in my head. And he said, I see the colors, Mom. I can't uh, explain it to you how vibrant they are, but what I see is the energy that the trees are emitting.
Wow. Okay. I mean, so how did you didn't hear it audibly, or you did hear it, or was it more
I
like,
I I heard it in my head, but it was as if he was in the car speaking to me.
oh, okay. So what did you share this with everyone else? Yeah, you in the
No,
car?
no, you know what? I looked, my boyfriend was driving, and I looked at him. He didn't appear to hear anything. And I thought, okay, he's going to think I'm crazy. And I thought maybe I was too. And this was
Oh,
probably a result of the trauma, some type of PTSD.
oh.
But then when we got to the cottage, he continued to talk to me about energy. And also, there were signs that were happening, like, a rainbow appeared, a double rainbow, actually. It appeared, and I have pictures of things that happened. And the arc of the rainbow, it went right into the lake, right in front of me.
Mm.
And I said, is that you, Aaron? I mean, I was starting to, believe that it was him based on things he was telling me and signs that were happening.
And did he answer when you asked him, is this you somehow
Yes,
doing this? And he
yes,
said
yes,
yes.
yes, he did. Yes, he did. In
Oh
fact,
my.
the rainbow, there were two rainbows. One was a quite brilliant, vibrant rainbow. And then there was like a softer colored one.
Hmm.
beside it. And I said, are you in the rainbow, Aaron? And he said, yes. And I said, well, who's the other rainbow? And my mother said, it was her, but she's letting Aaron speak. He's the one who's going to speak for everybody. So the sign, the brighter rainbow, was Aaron, and my mother was there beside him.
That's
And
amazing.
later, Aaron told me she met him when he transitioned. She was the person who greeted him.
So your mom had passed before him.
Yes, 4 months before.
4 months before, and she greeted him. Now, did you have any other family members that greeted him? Or did he eventually said, oh, I talked to so-and-so, out of curiosity?
He didn't describe it that way, that there were other family members, but my father transitioned the year after, and
Okay.
I saw a medium, and my father came through and told me that Aaron was there when he transitioned. So, but what Aaron said was, because I did ask him at one point, well, what happened? Like, what was it like when it first happened? So he said at first it was dark. It was dark, and he didn't know where he was.
Okay.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, a circle of light appeared, kind of like he described it. He shows me images too. So it was like, the sparklers for 4th of July that we
Yes, I do.
spun around in circles when we were kids.
Yes.
Okay. So he showed me this circle of light.
Okay.
Like that. And he said, and this circle of light appeared. And he used to call the kids called my mother Mimi, their grandmother. He said Mimi was in it, and I went to it.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot. You're getting a lot of description.
Mhm.
This sounds like a very strong communication. He
Yeah.
must be
So,
very, I mean, how is he so good at this? Do you know?
well, I don't know how it is he's so good at communicating, but I know that he does communicate. He answers my questions, and he tells me a lot about what it's like where he is. He talks about energy and how energy works.
Okay.
And, like, as I said, I had a science background, but it was mostly biology, anatomy, and physiology, not physics. So I would go
Yeah.
after I would hear him tell me something and look it up, and there it would be in a physics book.
Wow. Talk about
Yeah.
evidence
Yeah.
of,
So, but what he tells me is actually beyond what's known. I have to kind of imagine beyond what I can find in a book to understand how he's able to connect with me. But the fact is, we're always connected, according to him. Energy flows through the universe, and it flows through us as well. So he's part of the energy that flows through me and through everything else. So the signs that he sends, for instance, he tells me that, because one time we were, in Florida, decided to go to Florida, and a little sandpiper left its group and was following us down the beach just by itself. And I saw it, and I turned and I said, Aaron? And he said, yeah, Mom, it's me. Because this sandpiper wasn't afraid of us, and it stuck with us. Anyway, so I said, are you the bird? He said that animals can look in on us for them. They connect their energy with the animals, and birds, they like to, and I do see a lot of birds. I see cardinals and blue jays as well. And he said they can get anywhere pretty fast, and they're pretty good to connect with. to check in on us or to let us know they're around. He said their eyes become our eyes, their ears become our ears. So
Wow.
they can actually physically relate with us through
Hmm.
through he said little children as well. He said adults have very complicated minds and it's less easy to make energy connections because of all that complicated energy adults have stirring around in them. But animals don't, and young children don't. So they are easier to connect with.
So I have so many questions right now in my mind. Did he communicate with any of the other family members?
um,
Like the same way that he
no,
in the, talking in the mind?
no, just
No.
dream visits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my other children, I have three others, and they've talked to me about dream visits with him, and we've sat and tried to figure out what they mean. You know,
Ah,
and of course, we all have a different relationship with each other. So
right.
um, the way that Aaron is able to communicate or appear, he generally appears in dream visits to me as a young adult, as I remember him most recently.
Mm.
But he has also appeared when he was younger, looking like he was a lot younger as well. So
Oh, I
yeah.
wish I could do that with my kids right now. I want them to be experience them when they were younger.
Yeah.
This must have been so helpful to you with your grieving process. I would imagine.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the big reason for writing the book, is to help others. And when I realized that the journaling was very therapeutic and
Mhm.
helping me to remember, because you've probably heard of grief memory. That's essentially no memory. So I Arlene told me, write everything down or you're going to forget.
Mhm.
And she was right. If I don't write some things down, I do forget. And often I'll go back and read the book just to remember certain things that happened fairly recently. When Aaron started speaking to me and me realizing that we can connect with our loved ones across the veil, he wanted me to get the message out. And so, I realized that, and I write in the beginning of the book, if it helps one other person, and that was really my expectation, that even if it helps one other person, it was an important thing to do. And because if someone else was experiencing what I'm experiencing, or might be able to experience it,
Mhm.
and it might help them in their grief, and it might help them connect with their loved one.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's helpful to have a level of expectation, hope. I will hear from them, like to reach out to them in sort of in faith and expectation. Would you say that?
Yes. Yes. And I believe it's a natural process. According to Aaron, this is not something at all unusual or out of the ordinary.
Okay.
The issue it has to do with aligning our energy with theirs. And a lot
Oh,
of times in grief, our energy isn't that compatible for alignment. So with theirs. So but it can be, we can there's things we can do to try to create a better alignment,
hmm,
like meditation um, is good. I do that. I've started to learn meditation
hmm,
and using my imagination.
mm,
Um, I've actually had some very interesting. Um, I'm not even sure what they are, but it's when you're falling asleep and you're in that state. I think they call it hypnagogic state, and
hmm.
I've had some visions, and I'm now trying to have an self-induced out of body experience. I had a spontaneous one when I was pregnant with Aaron. Of course,
Mm,
that was back when I was a
interesting.
nurse, and
You wrote
you
it
know,
off as something else.
well, yeah, something that is, the brain,
So you weren't religious or spiritual at all, huh? Maybe growing up, but
Um,
not when you raised your
well,
kids, or
I came from a mixed religious background. Originally, my parents didn't really practice religion. My father was Roman Catholic, and it really was. It sometimes it got to be a source of conflict,
Mm,
with it between them and the families and everything. I know you wrote about. I read your book, and it was very eye-opening, and also I could relate to a lot of it.
mm,
Um, but I did always consider myself a spiritual person. But my sense of spirituality was still more rooted in what I learned in, you know, from religion, and
mm,
not really expanding beyond that in
mhm.
any way.
Yeah.
Um, and I always felt that, well, there's obviously a scientific explanation for what goes on, and anything that there isn't an explanation for just hasn't been discovered yet.
Right.
But opening my mind, uh, since it's kind of like I've been able to go back and look at my life prior as well as a result of this, and say, oh wow, well, that was an out of body experience,
Uh,
and now I know what that is,
right. You have
you
words
know.
for it, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So you're trying to have a self-initiated out-of-body experience. Can I ask
yes,
why? I have interest in that as well, as you
yeah.
probably know, but
You know what, I'm trying one of your techniques, actually.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is that
So
because you want to kind of maybe see Aaron in the etheric realm, which is still a
yeah,
solid kind of physical realm?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, that
of
makes sense.
course, yeah. I'm hoping for that. I have seen uh, stuff that's going on in another realm, but I haven't left my body for that.
Right, right.
So it's like almost like I'm looking through a window or a camera lens into another world,
Hmm.
or even into another room
Now,
somewhere.
is that during the transitional state between sleep and awake?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to talk to you a little bit more after this, and
Okay.
give you some pointers and some
Yeah.
suggestions. Um,
Okay, great.
so I'm really just curious about the energy part of this. Now, I see the book back there, Aaron's Energy. I love that title. Um,
Thank you.
can you share a little bit, anything like that you thought, whoa, about energy, of what he taught you about energy?
Yeah.
I mean, you've shared a few things already, but I'm just curious if
Yeah.
there's anything else that you're thinking, ooh, I should share this. This is very interesting.
Yeah. So the big thing he told me about energy is that the entire universe is composed of and comprised of energy. All matter is energy. Now, this is something that is well known, but I didn't know. Okay. It's something that Einstein contemplated in his E equals mc squared.
Right.
I never studied it and didn't really know what that meant, but um,
Yeah.
what Aaron tells me is that matter is energy moving at different rates, he says. I know that
Okay.
people say vibrating at different rates,
Uh-huh.
flowing at different frequencies. It all means the same thing. And he said to me, if a rock had consciousness, which it does, believe it or not,
I believe it.
but the energy that is locked in the rock, or in the rock,
Uh-huh.
um, that's created the rock, is moving at such a slow rate in comparison. So if a rock could see, it wouldn't see us because we don't move at
We're
a
at a
rate
higher
that
rate.
a rock could. Yes, exactly.
Yes, yes. That's why we can't see
Right.
them, right?
Exactly. That's why we can't see them. And they're here. And to Aaron, we're here too. Like he says, I'm here, Mom. You're here just as much as I am, but I can't see him because what the energy that my matter is made of
Mm-hmm.
is moving at a different rate,
Yeah.
not just uh, speed, but time, which is another dimension as well,
Right.
which he said, don't even try to get. I'm not even explaining that one to you, Mom. You'll never get it. Um, he said that energy is love. So pure energy is pure love. And love is the source of all creation. And that is really what the universe operates on. It operates on creation. And as humans, we have been given or created in order to create. So we're up the chain a little from, other forms of matter and other forms of creation, because we have tools to create. We have brains, we have hands, we can actually create, and we can think and we can feel love because we have language, we have higher capabilities. So we're just part of it all. But because of what we were created for within the flow of energy through the universe, we are in the dimension we're in. And we're not able to see beyond that. We're not able to sense beyond that. But we are made up of one dimension and two dimensions and three dimensions, and just the same, we're part of 4 and 5 and 6 and so on. And so we just can't be in touch with anything beyond 3.
It's so fascinating though that he ends up teaching you things that you didn't know, and you look it up and you confirm it. Did he have any background in physics?
Aaron was incredible. And the rest of the subtitle of my book is An Unexpected Journey Through Grief and the Afterlife with My Brilliant Son. Aaron was literally, I don't know how to explain with him. He learned so fast. He had a photographic memory. He
Okay.
read everything.
Ah.
Anything. He would explain to me. I remember he came over once and he was working for my company. He was doing analytics and things. And he explained quantum computing to me. And
Okay.
I'm just sitting there and he's drawing it out. He's like explaining it and drawing out how this works and how blockchain works and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there and
You're like, okay.
but he was getting me to understand it.
Very nice.
And he was always ahead of expectations. Even as a very young child, some of the stuff he would come out with, I couldn't believe it. So in life, Aaron was very brilliant. And in afterlife, I think of him as a brilliant light, a star in the universe. And he's still teaching me.
And you're
He
still
started
connecting.
teaching me from day one.
So would you say your communication has improved since the beginning? Or is it kind of maintaining? Is it fading? How would you describe it now?
I would say it's expanded because he had to teach me how to communicate first. So he started pretty simple, just talking to me in his voice. So I could know who it was, recognize immediately. And then as things started happening, signs and so forth, he started explaining to me how he was communicating with me through signs.
A lot of the signs were electronic kind of signs, or
Yes,
yes?
yes, I've
Okay.
had electronic signs. I've had doors opening and closing. I've had
Okay.
cold breezes going across me. One, he actually was moving the flame on a candle. I was asking him to
Wow.
move it, and he was moving it when I would
Okay.
ask him, and moving it in the direction I would ask
So
him.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's and writing messages in the clouds. And yeah, so
I have
one day,
another friend that she did that for her mom.
yeah, I have photos of it. Actually, one is it's on my group. I've posted it a couple times because people ask for this one. It's the letter I and a heart, and then YOU. I love you
It's
in
amazing.
clouds. And I asked him now when I started asking him, Aaron, send me another message in the clouds, because you can imagine how that feels
Mm.
to see that, and how it just fills you, you know. And so he said to me, Mom, that's not that easy to do. He said, everything, he said, countless micro incidents and macro incidents have to all occur simultaneously for you to see that message, and you have to be part of that system. And he's explaining this all to me about how he's able to move particles, like,
Wow.
with energy.
Hmm.
And it's not just him, because he's part of the universal consciousness.
Hmm.
So he kind of has to get the cooperation on his side, and
Right.
the elements on our side, all the particles and everything have to be, in
Aligned.
alignment.
Right.
And I have to be there too, because
Oh, that's a lot of
the
work.
cells in my eyes have to be able to see it. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like there's so much
So
going on.
much.
Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned that he's told you quite a bit about the other side, his experience. Are there any things that you think the listeners would like to know about what it's like over there?
Sure. Yeah, I'm
You're like,
sure they
a ton.
would. Yeah, I'm sure they would. Okay, so he said there's no want, no desire, no judgment,
Mm.
only perfect peace. He said he can go where he wants when he wants. He can be. They are also able to create. They have a higher level of creation than we do in our physical uh, existence. And so they can create experiences for themselves.
Mm.
They can
Wow.
come to us. They can be in more than one place at one time.
Mm.
They can share information readily. Everything is in less than a blink of an eye.
Like telepathic, you mean, sharing?
Yes, they can share telepathically with us, and on an energy level of understanding
Hmm.
with of all of the other, I guess if you want to say, souls on the other side. um, they they can go anywhere in the universe, and the universe is huge.
Ooh.
It,
Okay,
it's
so
beyond,
like
it's
flying
infinite
or like
universe.
transporting, what is that called? Do they fly to different locations or just a thought away? That kind of a thing.
Well, everything is a thought away, but if they want to fly, if they want to feel like it's a flight, they can create that for themselves and
Mm.
fly there.
Gee, that sounds sounds kind of fun. Do you
Yeah.
have any thoughts about reincarnation?
Yes, and I asked Aaron about reincarnation, and he said reincarnation is something that happens naturally because of how energy flows.
Oh,
Yeah, and he said that there are times when people might interpret a reincarnation because of an energy connection that's happening.
mm,
So, because energy can also, there's a term for it. It can enter an exchange
okay.
with someone who is living.
Okay.
Okay, so it can happen at any point in someone's life. where where a person from across the veil or the other side, another dimension, a being in their form of energy wants to be that close, although it doesn't happen that often. But he said when life is created, remember, the physical life is a creation of energy as well, and love creation. So yes, reincarnation occurs at that point when the energy from the universe enters the body of the newborn baby. And it can bring energy from a prior life with it.
Okay.
Conscious energy.
So did he mention, look, we're all going to wait here until all of the loved ones that you all have experienced with one another cross over before reincarnating? Because that's a concern of some parents. Like, well, I really want to be able to see if reincarnation is true, and it's, would that mean Aaron would say, okay, I'm not going to be here when you get here because I'm going to go reincarnate into this baby?
He said it's less, it's not so much about him reincarnating into a baby, although he did say he's coming back and I will know it's him when I see him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have to remember, and it's really difficult concept for me to get, and probably for most people to get, while we're in our physical existence.
Mm-hmm.
We are already part of that. Okay. So when he says I'm where he is and he's where I am, this is because of conscious energy constantly flowing through the universe. It's flowing through all of us. So when I transition, will I see him? Yes, because his conscious energy is also there.
Okay.
And so is mine, actually, right now. I just am not aware of that. But I think during astral travel, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, I think that's when we are able to have that experience, or to be on that level during our physical existence. Right. And we're over there and that's when we can be aware of it.
Right. It sounds like when we go out of body in astral travel, let's say, maybe we're at that our etheric body, if you will, or our energy body or astral body is at a little bit of a different, higher frequency than the three-dimensional, or this body, would you say?
That's what it sounds like. I'm still learning. I'm very new at this, and I don't have all the language or the dictionary for all of this. But that is what it sounds like from what he says, is that it's part of us continuously. It's just our conscious minds that we need our senses, we need our ego, we need all of this for survival. And we were created to be here for the time we're here, so we are created for survival. We're highly tuned for it. So but part of us is still connected to the beyond, and it's constantly flowing through us.
Did he say anything about meeting God or angels or anything of that nature, or maybe ETs or anything that you were like, wow, I can't believe you interacted with this entity?
Yeah, so what he said is that our notion of God is love. God is love, and love is the source of all creation. Okay. So that's really the most he has said to me about that. he has said a little bit about, um, the Kabbalah. He was very interested in religion and studying and
Oh,
reading about religion. And so he explained some things to me that I didn't realize at the time fit in with the Kabbalic thought. And I found that out afterwards too.
wow. It's so interesting. It's just
Yeah,
confirming. It seems like that's more evidence for that to happen. You don't know something,
yeah.
you're given information from him and you can confirm it. It's perfect.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, as he says, people are very astute, have been very astute throughout all of humanity, at being in touch with what's beyond our ability to sense.
Mm,
And some people have been able to put it into language and give us an understanding that there is more beyond what we can see.
mhm. Now
So,
you didn't have any clairvoyant abilities that you know of before Erin contacting you? Because I'm wondering, someone might think, well, she had a gift and that's why they're able to communicate. What do you think about that?
well, they probably would be right. Because when I was younger, or well, my whole life, I saw auras. Okay. Didn't know that
Mm.
everybody else didn't see them, so I didn't bother mentioning it.
Yes,
I
right.
thought everybody saw them, and I thought this is something people's eyes do, you know. But when I was older, I was watching a movie. I think it was the one Shirley MacLaine
Oh, yeah.
produced.
Out on
Yeah,
a limb, I
Out
think.
on a Limb. That's
Yeah.
it. Yes. And in it, she describes auras, and they show,
Yeah.
a depiction of what it looks like. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there, and I'm like, oh, see, I said, that's silly. Everyone can see that. And of course, everyone said, no, they can't. I said, I thought,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believed it until I was a young adult and
Wow.
never really thought it was anything special. Um, so yeah, I guess I did have an ability I wasn't aware of.
Okay.
Um, and I can still do it. I can still see auras, you know. I
Wow.
don't I don't necessarily know what they mean, but I'm starting to learn a little bit about what certain colors mean, and you know, yeah.
Yeah. Would someone's aura change depending on their mood or their energy at that moment?
Yeah,
Mm,
apparently they do change. So, and what I read was that people see them differently. So it
mm,
depends on, you have to develop, um, you know, uh, like learn your ability
mhm.
in order to be able to interpret them. So I haven't really spent a lot of time at it, but I'm starting to learn. I took a mediumship workshop,
Oh,
and I
cool.
shocked myself at what I was able to
Okay.
do. So
Mm, I
yeah.
bet. So you're training, you're trying all kinds of things, it sounds like,
Yeah, yeah.
to
And
expand.
yes, to open my mind. And it's essential. I mean, what I've learned is your mind has to be open. And
Mm,
when you're open, you will receive more. I think sometimes when
yeah.
people are grieving, they hear, oh, my friend got sees dimes, and my another friend sees cardinals, and another friend sees, you know, cloud formations. And if they have an expectation that they will get the same signs as they're hearing about,
Mhm.
they might not, because their loved one might communicate with them differently.
Right, right.
So it takes time to learn, and but it really takes an open mind.
But the potential is there, would you say, for everyone
Yes.
to
Yeah.
communicate with their loved one who's crossed over, to develop some of these psychic abilities within them?
Yes, definitely. We
Yeah.
all have the ability. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I do, everyone does for sure.
Well, I'm really enjoying this conversation. I know we're coming up on time, but I wanted to make sure that you had the chance to share anything else you're thinking that is on your heart that, I want to make sure the listeners can connect with you. We're gonna, and I want to know about any other projects that you might be working on as well, because I'm thinking there's going to be more books, but that's just came to me. That's what I'm thinking. And you're like, I just finished this one.
Well, you're psychic. I think you're psychic too.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah, so Erin has been continuing since I published Erin's Energy on a regular basis, sending me signs, telling me, I'm still journaling everything he's telling me. So I want people to know that they can communicate, they can connect energetically with their loved ones. And that what Erin says is a lot of times when connection seems to be short-lived, I hear people talk about how it only lasts a little while and then it wanes. Erin said it's because people are going back to sorry, that's the snow removal. Can you hear it?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've had a huge snowstorm here today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can't turn
I'm
that
not going
off.
to
I
even tell you my
apologize.
weather here in California. Go
Oh,
on.
don't tell me.
I'm not going to tell you.
Don't tell me, it's not fair. Anyway, so what he said is it's not them. We're the limit. We have the limits. We are the ones who have the limiting factors. And he said a lot of times what happens is people start getting back to life. They start getting distracted. They start not paying as much attention to what's going on around them. Their lives get focused on their jobs, whatever, they're
Yeah.
getting back to life. And that's okay. That's okay. That's normal. And grief is normal. We should feel grief. Grief is a side of love. And so sometimes when our grief is very deep and we're difficult to connect with, Erin says he can connect with a friend, or he can wait until it lifts again and I'm more compatible. My energy is more compatible to make the connection. And so it continues. I've been continuing to get messages from him, signs and so forth. And I made the decision to write another book, but this time it's an anthology of stories. Because I want to get the message out that this happens to a lot of people. And so that people start to open their minds and offer validations through other stories. And so I have over 20 authors contributing to the anthology now. I've got some well-known published authors from the genre who are also contributing. So I'm hoping that the book will be ready to be published before the fall of this year. I'm not sure though. I don't have a hard publishing date yet, but the stories are amazing. And just some of them are just so great. And it's from people who, like me, who had no experience, which kind of shows people, everybody that's anything is possible.
Yeah.
And it's from people who are experts and know, people who have backgrounds in metaphysics and engineering and electromagnetism, all of the stuff that we hear about now in association with afterlife communication and connection. So it's going to be a great book when it comes out. I don't even have a title for it yet, but
sounds so good.
Thank you. And then people can reach me. I'm available. I have a website, www.erinsenergy.com. I have a Facebook group page called Erin's Energy. I'm on Instagram at Erin's_energy_book. And my book, I wrote, this is sorry, I've got yellow Post-it notes in it. It doesn't look pretty. This is the first edition of Erin's Energy.
Okay.
I wrote a second edition for Helping Parents Heal.
Oh,
The
wow.
proceeds go directly to Helping Parents Heal, which is a spiritual parent loss group, and they're just fantastic. They've helped me so much. Helpingparentsheal.org, and on a person's Amazon Smile account, all of the proceeds from the sale will go to Helping Parents Heal.
Wow.
All of the proceeds of my book are going to charity, of all of my books, to mental health and addiction research and care, to bereavement support groups, to Helping Parents Heal. And the next book, I'm going to add Forever Family Foundation onto the list of donation recipients. So,
Oh my
so
goodness,
it's doing
Camille.
good in so many ways.
So, wow, I'm just so pleased. This is amazing what you're doing here, this work you're doing, and how much
Thank
healing.
you.
You were taught in the beginning, you're like, if it could help one person, oh boy, the ripple effects are going to be beautiful.
Yeah, you know what, I feel that everything I'm doing is honoring Erin. I know that he and I are working together. And what he tells me is whatever I'm doing on this side of the veil helps on his side, and what he does helps
Oh,
on
okay,
this side.
that's good to know.
Because what happens in one dimension affects what happens in others.
Okay, that's really good to know. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And don't worry, to everyone listening, I am or watching, I'm going to put all these links up in the description under the interview, the video, so everyone can get a hold of you. And I'm just so happy to have met you, and looking forward to keeping our connection going, if that's okay.
Oh, 100%. I am all in on Unordinary Made Ordinary. I'm in the group. I love
I love your presence.
I love what you're doing, and I am so grateful to have met you and to have made this connection too. So
thank you. So thank you to Camille Dan. I'm going to have to sign off, although I'm loving this conversation. Thank you to everyone watching. This has been Julie McVey with Unordinary Made Ordinary. And I hope you'll join us next time for another amazing interview. If you enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like this type of content, please subscribe. And we will see you next time. I hope you're having a fantastic day or evening, wherever you are on the planet or off the planet. Bye, everyone.